Good evening, traders. Mark here from Day Trading Room. Time is 7:30 in the evening, London time, and just finished trading oil for the day. Keeping one eye on the Dow, but I don't expect to do anything else on that. Uh, just one trade on that for me for the day. Quite a few trades on oil. Just finished my last trade. Um, Annoyingly, I'd started the recorder. Um, for the break of 80. It didn't happen. So I turned the recorder off, and then it suddenly did happen, and I took the short at 78, which I covered at 63 and 56. Which is a shame. Why I didn't get it on, capture it on tape, but I'm going to try and capture some bits and pieces on tape because they're good to review. Good to let. Oh, I've still got to stop in here. Let me just close this out. Excuse me. Just cancel that. Stop. Um, Yeah, so yeah, just going through that last trade. Really, we very aggressive trading from me in the last hour or so. Just really based on this unwinding. Uh, I took this short on this first cycle. We'd opened up. We'd opened up pretty flat, chopped around a bit. Then at 4 o'clock, just before 4 o'clock, London time, this is just started to roll over, real heavy rollover. I think it just took a few people by surprise. But then again, looking at the 15-minute chart, we are still expecting downside. It's been sort of in a bear flag in the 15-minute. If I'll just bring it in, it helps to explain it a bit better. Um, we have just we've come down quite a way on the daily from the 93 highs. We've been bear flagging, excuse me, consolidating. More importantly, was the pop up that was sold immediately, and it was loitering around this 86.50. So I sort of bracketed this range. We're in the top of the range, and then we just started to come straight through. So there opening up a bit of downside then when that starts to happen. Um, a couple of trades in the morning, literally based on that pop. When that pop couldn't hold, you can see there's the high there. This is the boring stuff though. High there 87.29. Just popped up, couldn't hold. I thought, that's worth a go. That's worth a go for a pushback to sort of middle of the range. It was quite a trade, but it's that sort of thing's worth a go if it can't sustain that sort of level, especially after data. So yeah, took a little short on that and just closed it off as it pushed into here. Nothing exciting. This sort of rolled over, pretty much just gathered a bit of steam. Not involved in it at all. Of course, I'm waiting for the first pullback though, so I'm sitting there twiddling my thumbs as it's rolling down. It's taking out levels, and then it's starting to pull back. It hesitates a lot. This is a bit of old action, really. Um, Difficult to judge. So what I'm doing now, instead of what I normally do on the Dow, is I would sell into the pop. I'm actually a little bit later with my entry and waiting for the turn so that my risk is more defined. But that way, as I said, the risk is more defined. I do give a bit in slippage, but because the moves are a lot larger, it doesn't seem to matter. But I'm testing that out and seeing how I go with that. It seems to be working okay on that sort of retracement trade. You know the one I mean, usual thing. Push lower, that takes out levels. You get a little either bear flag that pop up, and then you're looking for that further push down, especially if you get the first one. So that was the premise of that trade. Um, it was at a little bit of a key level, as you can see. Drawing it on the 3 minute up here, but it was due another move lower. Yeah, got that. I think there's another. When I'm, by the way, when I'm pointing these arrows at the candle, I'm not getting on the high or low of the candle. I mean, sometimes you do, but I don't want to mislead people by thinking that I'm getting the high or low or tick of these candle. I'm just pointing to the exit of the candle. It may be sometimes that I get the very worst price on that candle. It may be I get the very best price, but it's somewhere in that candle. It's difficult to obviously show it, but that's just the sort of the way that the sort of nomenclature I'm using for this with these arrows. So yeah, got the roll over. This was a little bit scary actually. Well, not scary, but I just didn't think it was going to follow through. Push lower, pull back. I was hoping that would go through, but then we got that extra burst through, and I was out here. It was 91 was my exit. I remember it now. So that's why I just drawn that little line in just to show the exit there. So that was a nice little trade on that. Yeah, then I'm waiting for the counter trend. This was a bit silly. Got caught in this. I think it was a little bit late, just as it popped over here. So sat through that. It did pop against me, but it wasn't too much. It was about, what were we talking there? 603. Where are we? It wasn't more than 15 cents, if I remember rightly. It was close. And then as it started to roll back over, I just closed into this volume spike lower. So that was pretty much a scratch trade. Disappointing. Where were we? Yeah, this was a poor trade. I need to mark this one in. Pulling back up, I'm looking again for that deeper cycle to get short. I started shorting it around there, which is, what time is that? 17:48. So it's about, yeah, here. It's about here, the short. I started shorting it here. I closed it for a loss as we'd popped up here. It was pretty poor exit actually on my behalf. I just didn't like the way it had taken so long. I didn't want it to roll over. I didn't like the way it was plodding. It then happened to roll over just after my exit. It was about 15 cent or 10 cent loss on that. It rolled over, but it gave me a second chance. They normally get them, but it was quite a nice one. This there was the high, 86.43, rolled over, came to pull back, just popped over by a few ticks. 47, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. We're right on this overbought condition, should I say, after a move down. I haven't actually done this, but I will do it because this is going to be interesting. There we go. Look at that. Well, probably about there really is your top. There's your top of your move, bottom of your move, 50%, just about 50% before it rolled over. So, you've got a lot of going for it. Went in there with the stop just above that high, just started to roll over, and actually took 3 or 4 scales as I was pushing down on this into this little pulse here. And then again, as we retested that, it just didn't go quick enough for my liking. Held a bit and got a okay exit on the last one. But these are the sort of trades I wanted to go through as the last ones. And as I say, disappointing I didn't record it. I started the recorder around this time here. I thought, I'll just see if I can catch that break of 80 because there's a massive take buyer there, 85.80. You can see he's done nearly 2,230 contracts. And it was interesting to watch. He was being hit, and he wasn't lifting. So I really wanted to capture that, especially if it broke. But I didn't. But nevertheless, let's go through what we got up to. As it's pushing lower here, the second test that pushed lower, I just thought, it's not bouncing that much. It's not bouncing, and this 86, it's holding below the 86 now for a while. So I had a little short on the pop above it, came down. I got a lovely little exit there. My fill was at right on the button, 78. Low was 75. I was just looking for that break at those last two lows. So there's a lovely little scalp on that one. Then I had another go. I was probably pushing my luck a little bit because I thought, okay, we've broken the low here. Pulled back slightly. There was my short entry there, and this was the one I used a trailing stop on it. That's right. I was looking for a break of the lows. That was the premise all through this sort of sequence of trades here, was to look for scale out into the pulses, but ultimately look for a break of the lows. It's weak. It's come back to the low levels. It's a classic sort of trend day, and when you got those on the Dow, they're beautiful. You get the move, then you get the move lower that sort of flushes, you get the counter trend move with some little messing around, you get a little pop up to resistance, and then you get that late flush. I mean, in a bear market, they are just great to trade. They're really great. You're waiting for that counter trend. That's where that 3-minute cycle sort of came from, and that used to be around with about 45 minutes to go at the market close on the Dow. Used to be a great trade. You could get really aggressive on it, and you could even start to push it as it broke the lows, and it would be flushing, and it was a really nice setup to trade. So that was the sort of premise I had really, based on this weak market, weak 15-minute, daily. Okay, we're at the highs, but we are pushing to the bottom of the range. The OPEC news, what have you. So there's a bit of sentiment there. So that's what I was looking for anyway. Got to be a little bit careful using the longer time frame sentiments and stuff when you're scalping and short-term trading. But if you've got the wind behind you, even if it is that sort of time frame, it does help. So yeah, I had a little short here. I can't remember the entry on this one. I think it was high 80s, so it was around there. We rolled over, and I had, what did I have on that? A 15 cent trail, 14 cent trailing stop. I was messing around and thought, okay, let's try a trailing stop on this. Covered one, I remember, actually into that little pulse lower, just to get some off the table. Then I thought I'll trail one, and I ended up getting stopped at 91 on that. That right? That would have worked out right, wouldn't it? Low was 77. And what was my trailer? 14. Yeah, that's right. Stopped at 91, so didn't work out. But interestingly, this 80 was holding, and now it was really interesting to watch on the tape, which is why I wanted to capture it. But then this happened here. We got this. I don't normally do this, but because it was such a great scenario, 2 minutes towards the close, people are panicking a little bit. I could just see them pounding that 85, 80, pounding it, pounding it. Must have been at least 1,000 contracts going through, and it broke. I stuck myself in at 78. Obviously didn't get filled on the first push because it just broke. Fortunately got a little push back, and it just hovered there for, well, I mean, it felt like ages, but it must have been only 20 seconds or so. So filled me at the 78. I had a really tight stop at 82, I think it was. I think I just saw me cancel it. So I was literally playing. It was either going to go or it wasn't. I'm not risking anything. Occasionally you get those sort of setups. It's not normally a great idea to have such a tight stop all the time, but sometimes the setups can warrant it. And my premise was the 80 is going to break. He broke, and I wanted to see the sellers just then get aggressive and push this down, and the buyers to step back, bids to lift, to go light, and get that flush. And because the low was so close as well, 85.63, I was just going to close as we approached that low, and then just market buys boop, 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 into that sort of momentum. So lucky enough to get the fill at 82, 4 cent risk, great. I just didn't 78. My 4 cent risk was 82. I was literally looking for that continuation. We got it, great. Then it just flushed as I was expecting. Just got that lovely flush. First exit hit the market out 63, nice fill on that. Then we got that second flush. Actually, was that 63 that low? It was as well. So it happened to be right at the low. That was just the previous low, should I say? Literally just hit the market on that, and then hit the market again as it just flushed through that and got a 56 fill. So great end to the day. Running out of time. Let's go back to the old Dow Jones. Not much going on the Dow at the moment. One nice trade set up for me though. And that was this push up. That's around the 12,000 level here. Time was this? About half past. Coming to 4 o'clock. That's it. I'm just looking off the screen here at my cash just to make sure we're on the same thing. Yeah, that's it. This was above. This was around the 12,010, 12,015 level on the Dow cash. And it was a key level from before. You can see here how many times we tagged it. We just pushed up to it, failed, and this little push up here just failed. The ticks are nothing, they're not even, there's no interest here at all. So we're getting a little bit of a pop here actually. No interest at all, so took a short on that. Stop was just above that high. Decent risk reward really. We rolled over, just scaling out into the move lower. VWAP was the target, but I just held on and we got a few ticks extra on that. Brought the stop down then to around there. Just carried on rolling over, and I just got a little bit bored of it really. It just didn't quite it didn't do anything, and it tagged that gap. It had gone all slow. It tagged the gap. That was the same as the Dow cash. So it was a nice, what was that, 20-25 tick or something trade, and that was it for the day. That's just oil and Dow. Not much done on the Dow. I don't know if I put this video up. Can't remember what I've done now. I'm losing track a little bit. Yeah, a couple of trades here. I can't remember the premise of this. This must just be a pullback after that. Push lower, pull back, get short, take it out as you break into the lows. Classical little trade for me. That oil got a little bit uncomfortable yesterday. Let's have a look. Yeah, here we are. This is yesterday's trades on oil. Bit out of tune to be honest with it. And one trade caught me out. and as such, I didn't want to get involved in it after that. Even though there were some great setups on the long side, especially this bull flag here that then popped higher. Yeah, early in the morning, the short on the breakthrough there, Tate Reed, didn't go as much as I wanted, covered that, and then ended up taking a small loss on the second, so it was a scratch trade. And then I got caught properly out on this after the announcement yesterday. Flush lower. In hindsight, bad trade, but let's discuss this. It's 15 minutes long. I don't have to do more than 15 minutes on the video, but I think this is an important thing to note for my own reasons and for anyone else watching this and finding these interesting. Why was this a bad trade? Let's discuss it. But let's talk about exactly what the trade was first. Push lower after the announcement. Little pullback. Started to push lower. There's a good buy there. 86.03 if I remember it was. And I do remember it was. I remember it very well. We pushed through that low, and I just took it on as we were breaking through that low, and I think the entry wasn't great. And actually, I hit two entries on that. If I remember rightly, it was 86.11 and 86.07. So it was quite chasing. It was 86.30 and 86.7. I think my average 86.11 anyway. So we're talking down here. It pushed that 86.03, and I'm waiting for the break. That's not enough for me to take any off the table, and that's not my premise. The premise is I want the flush like we got earlier today. I'm looking for that flush lower to close into, to even get 15-20 cents, and then just try and get on potentially a trailer. Just play the last couple of contracts as I see fit. But we didn't get it. We pushed down 86.03, pushed up, and it went against me like 10-11 cents, which was thinking okay, but I still quite liked it. And it pushed down again, and it didn't, and it popped up, and I thought, I thought just be patient with it. Got to have a bit of patience with this. Pushed down again, thought it's going through now, and it didn't. It popped back up, and I was still in it at this point here. Now this point is 20 cents against me. Which is unusual for me. I would normally not risk this, but because our entry was quite poor, I'm still looking at this 50% thinking, okay, we could theoretically get up to here and still roll over, and I don't want to come out, have to re-enter lower, because I'm going to be risking the same amount. So I'm going to stay in this and give this like a 25 cent, 26, 27 cent risk. A large risk, but I thought the potential was okay. We didn't get it. We hovered here. My stop was just over here, and it just pinged me out there. So that was a horrible little stop. That it was a 23-4 cent stop. Not great, but I just want to discuss why that's a bad trade in hindsight. First of all, the execution was poor. I don't mind chasing stuff, but really, this is a range. Regardless of whatever you're doing, forgetting about all this is still a range. All we're doing is probing to the low of the range. We've broken through it a few ticks. Now that's a different setup to if we got this. Let me just draw this and show this. If we'd had this, then we got to drive lower, and then we got the pull back. That's a completely different ball game. What this effectively was below, this down here, was this. Trading in the range, drive lower, and pull back here. Can you see the difference between the two? That does not equal that. That is a much better trade. There's panic people there. There's people looking to get out. That's the idea of a continuation trade. This is no good. We're still in the range. We broke through it a little bit. Okay, there's a little bit of movement, but then let's look at that point as well. What is the movement? It's nothing. It's nothing. It's the range of the day. It's poor. It's what's the top on that 60 to 20, 40 cents move, and it didn't even close at the bottom. It's not the nice 3-bar drive I like. The pulls back, and then we get a continuation. So right from the start, it was unlikely to work. The odds were against me. I don't know what the odds are on this sort of setup in this situation. Probably quite low, because most of the time I like to fade this sort of pop outs. I've talked about them before in my videos. A push lower just catches a few suckers in, like me in this case, and then you get that push back up to the top of the range, and it's a lovely little setup. For some reason I got myself blinkered into thinking it was going to drive lower, too caught up in that premise, not really looking at what was going on, and more importantly, as I've said before, not really reminding yourself and focusing on where we are in the scheme of things. And we're in this limit, excuse my French, we're in this range. we were in this range, so there's no reason to take a continuation trade. So I did deserve to take a good solid stop on that and a bit of a whack, which is disappointing. But you've got to review the mistakes. If I can make every trader winner, I'll be a billionaire. But I'm not. And every trader is not going to be a winner. You've just got to try and understand where your losers come from. Sometimes you take a great trade, even we'll go back to that. The break lower, take that, and that may pop and stop you out. And I don't care about those. That happened today a couple of times. Taking some great trades, but all you can do is take good trades. And this is not a good trade for those reasons. The move was poor. We're still in the range. Your entry was awful, and you had to give it that sort of room because of the nature of the move. And it just popped up. It sucked you into that and spat you out. So excuse me, my phone's going off. Yeah, so awful trade on that, and then it just sort of threw me for the day, that because I was disappointed that I got involved in that sort of trade, and so missed some of this nice action. But I was offering some great opportunities here. Dow, it's quite slow really. The daily range today is only 47 points. I'm still looking for one or two good trades on it though. That nice pullback. Going to be a bit careful with these continuation trades, because I don't think they're working. And even in oil, for example, you've got to wait till they're outside of the range before you're taking them. Anyway, I'm waffling on. I got too carried away with that. That's my vlog. Hope it's of some use to you guys. Excuse me if I am waffling on. Hope it's not boring any of you. Give me some ideas on stuff to do. Maybe something that's going to interest you. I'm just talking about my own trades. Maybe I can talk about some of the setups. Try to capture some tape reading for you. Missed it. I'm going to try that next week, see if I can get some trades, live trades perhaps. That might be good and also great for me to analyse. Yeah, market wise, one more day for the week, so keep it tight. Watch out for that Dow flirting with the 12,000, struggling to get over 12,015. But trends behind it. Oil is going the other way. So good trading, guys. I'll be back with a video hopefully over the weekend. We'll do one. Okay.